Says I'm live. Just came on though. Hello, everyone. It is Monday, the 3rd of March, 2025, and I had a few things to get done before getting back on. And I usually like to make it where my later videos are shorter, but I don't know how much short this is going to be. And I want to see if I can also go to Rumble Premium from here. I don't know how to do that yet. I'll try to figure it out. If anyone can help me, let me know. Let me see here. Okay, by clicking update stream, your stream will become available by paying subscribers only. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'll figure it out later. Oh, I washed my hair this morning. I like to have it air dry, but it was a little bit of a mess beforehand. I edited my post from this morning on LinkedIn. I think it's important that even on LinkedIn, we have discussions regarding the geopolitical environment that we're operating within, because a lot of people that are working all over the world internationally, whether in uniform or not, are on LinkedIn. And it's very much being monopolized by the left and or radical war propagandists, unfortunately. And so gotta infiltrate this group. Not infiltrate, you know what I mean? I mean, educate. Not even that, but just give more facts. So NATO corporations and Zelensky internal corruption is finally getting exposed. The fraud, money laundering, kickbacks, selling half the provided weapons on the black market to be used against us in future events, like always, and more. General Fraser, General Eyre, General Carignan, I hope you get investigated for this. This proxy war in Ukraine was instigated by NATO assets, including in Ukraine. This could have been resolved diplomatically in January and again in April 2022, with a significantly better deal than will be negotiated now. This was not a surprise, but Fraser told me 2 to 3 years ago on this very platform that I was wrong about Ukraine because he was on the ground. COVID ring a bell? Were you right about that? How many other events like 9/11, January 6th, Freedom Convoy events were you wrong about? J.D. Vance called Zelensky out for his dog and pony shows that you fell for. Vance hasn't been on the ground either. The military, pharma, industrial tech elitists and their lobbyist friends and family, with shares and stocks in war companies like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, etc., lied, and people fell for it. Unfortunately, I'm not saying they got duped, but they fell for it, and a lot of people again were impacted by this. Now there are over 100 million deaths and injuries sustained collectively, and a country that may never recover in our lifetime, and World War III risked, which may be nuclear. I have offered my services for free to sit down and discuss this with the highest levels of government for years. I hope someday this request is granted. Today, experts are saying that Trump is exploiting Zelensky for precious minerals, but guess where 50 to 70% of the precious minerals are? On Russian soil currently. BlackRock now owns 50% of Ukraine's farmland. Zelensky's next meeting after his failed meeting with Trump, and I was saying he should be wearing a suit. He's got a lot of money from taxpayers from all over the world where he can afford it. His wife is going on shopping sprees all over Europe in high-end boutiques and stuff like that. So this guy, again, he should be properly turned up. It just seems very disingenuous and a costume. Anyway. So his first meeting after the Trump disastrous one was with lobbyists and the military, pharmaceutical, industrial tech elites. This was not a war we should have enabled or supported, because Ukrainians are the ones who suffered, and so did Canadians. And our military has been weakened in so many different ways. It's just sad. Elitist is what I meant to say. Trump has not lifted sanctions on Russia and is trying to get land back for Ukraine. So it's not like he doesn't have any skin in the game to try to help Ukraine. He's the one that's trying to help them the most, I think. Biden wasn't even on the table. I think that people don't remember that. And of course, I didn't show the presentation, so I'll just show you the post. I read it, so it's not like you didn't see it, or hear it, I mean. But let's see if it... It's slow today. I'm clicking on presentation. No. Try again. I had to refresh. So this is the post. onto my social media. It just shows more of the corruption that's coming out. So this is from Debbie from X. Why is there so much funding for Ukraine in the senator's budget proposal? And this is from Elon Musk, who's part of Doge right now. He would know. His response is kickbacks. Why is this story no longer available? No, of course, because it goes against the narrative.
It's kind of a hack to the system where someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros was really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out how to hack the system. He's a genius at arbitrage. I mean, these days he's pretty old, but a genius at arbitrage. So he figured out that you could leverage a small amount of money to create a nonprofit, then lobby the politicians to send a ton of money to that nonprofit, so you can take what might be, a $10 million donation to a nonprofit to create a nonprofit and leverage that into $1 billion NGO. A nonprofit is a weird word. It's just a non-governmental organization, and then the government continues to fund that every year, and it'll have a nice sounding name like the Institute for Peace or something like that. But really, it's a graft machine.
And what are their requirements with that money? What do they have to do?
Just really no requirements at all.
So they just get grants and the government just assumes that they're doing good work.
I think a lot of people in the government know that they're not doing good work, but it's a giant graft machine. It's kind of a hack to the system where someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros was really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out how to hack the system. He's a genius at arbitrage. I mean, these days he's pretty old, but a genius at arbitrage. So he figured out that you could leverage a small amount of money to create a nonprofit, then lobby the politicians to send a ton of money to that nonprofit, so you can take what might be, a $10 million donation to a nonprofit to create a nonprofit and leverage that into $1 billion NGO. A nonprofit is a weird word. It's just a non-governmental organization, and then the government continues to fund that every year, and it'll have a nice sounding name like the Institute for Peace or something like that. But really, it's a graft machine.
And what are their requirements with that money? What do they have to do?
Just really no requirements at all.
So they just get grants and the government just assumes that they're doing good work.
I think a lot of people in the government know that they're not doing good work, but it's a giant graft machine. It's kind of a hack to the system where someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros was really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out.
I have insider information. The entire pandemic response was managed by McKinsey. They had a crisis team that worked full-time every day for the Quebec government. So from the curfew to the pass to the layoffs if you're not vaccinated to shutting down the economy were all recommendations by the crisis team of McKinsey. Guess how much we were being charged per day for these 6 guys? That crisis team of McKinsey costed $35,000 per day, and they worked for 2 years on this. I have insider information. The entire pandemic.
So it's all coming out now. This was just posted like I think 3 days ago. Yeah, my memory reel from October 2023. Calling this out, talking about World War III on the table. In the office. Yeah, so here's a post that I made February 10th, 2023. High-priced consultants were used and the money was wasted. And again, I had to scroll through so many posts yesterday just to find this, because again, I knew I've called them out for years, but I knew I had something tangible, at least on Instagram, to show. Again, not edited. Anyways, high price consultants were used and money was wasted. $35,000 a day, guys. This was millions and millions of dollars for these 6 guys that caused so, like, they were so wrong, and I just can't even get over it. And I would have requested significantly less than that, and I would have given, if you look at my work, much more accurate information, and we would have all been better off. But that's what we paid for. I was and still calling out McKinsey, Marco, heads of the RCMP, DOD, GAC, NATO, etc. If you want the best analysts in Canada, hire me. Again, that was when I was just like kind of desperate. Yeah, I was doing it at that point. At that point in 2023 for 3 years. We need change. We need less lies, less ego, and less corrupt individuals who are using platforms as an umbrella to hide under. Justin Trudeau is anything but a true liberal. Hitler also came in power in Germany in the late 1920s under a minority socialist party. Doesn't seem like anyone in cabinet or in the consulting firms used know anything about history. And it's true. And it's not like I'm bitter or anything like that. It's just like a lot of harm was caused, even in Canada. And it could have been so easily mitigated if these people actually listened to people that were actually experts. Anyway.
Back to the whole 15-minute
cities.
Back to the whole 15-minute city thing. Cars, they are the epitome of individual liberty. Peterson actually has pointed this out.
I think there's 2 marks of tyranny right now. People who hate comedians, people who hate automobiles. Man, that's a line of war for me. It's like, really? Keep your hands off my fucking car.
Yeah, right.
Prick. Yeah, well, you think about what a car stands for. It's like radical autonomy and privacy.
You see what happened in California recently? So first of all, in 2026, all vehicles made have to have a shutoff in America. That was a Biden initiative. Now by 2028, all vehicles in California that are speeding, this is working its way through. I imagine it will go through. If you're speeding, your car will beep at you, like as if you're not wearing your seatbelt. And if you think about that, the only way to employ that strategy is if you know where I am every moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the speed limit. The 15-minute cities, which Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal are all already stated as going to be a part of. They say 0 private car ownership is the goal by 2030, 0 kilograms of meat consumption, 3 items of clothing per person per year, and then also limiting people to 1 short haul flight every 3 years. These initiatives, that's where they end up planning to go. That's not coming from conspiracy theorists. This is directly in their C40 initiatives, which you can find on their website. Back to the whole 15-minute city thing. Cars, they are the epitome of individual liberty. Peterson actually has pointed this out.
I think there's 2 marks of tyranny right now. People who hate comedians, people who hate automobiles. Man, that's a line of war for me. It's like, really? Keep your hands off my fucking car.
Yeah, right.
Prick. Yeah, well, you think about what a car stands for. It's like...
Back to the whole...
Why did we create a vaccine?
It's all coming out. It's all...
It's like, it's kind of weird if you talk to somebody who gets all their information from, like...
Why?
I want to see this post.
Why did we create a vaccine that does not clear the virus? That is...
Not only that, Patrick, why did we create a vaccine that reproduces the most pathogenic component of the virus? Why not the nucleocapsid? Why not the whole virus? Why do we keep pushing on spike? It's insane.
Oh my God, you're singing my...
Guys, I interrupted because I was trying to go into a new stream.
I've been saying this since 2020. Think about this. I'm not only worried about long COVID, I think I understand why we're getting long COVID. Your idea about spike, this thing called spikyopathy, the idea that the spike could come either from the vaccine or from the COVID virus itself. And if it comes from the vaccine, does it break off and does it actually replicate? If it replicates, does it persist? If it persists and replicates in a certain part of the tissue, does it reduce what they call P53? Is it then a harbinger of cancer? Is it going to act like hepatitis and HPV, God forbid, where in fact 5 years or 10 years from now, is it potentially the explanation why I'm seeing 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-olds with colon cancer? Why did I see patients with 13-year-old metastatic pancreatic cancer? These are questions that need to be very importantly asked.
And by the way, is it COVID? Is it vaccine? Is it both? All are possible.
Is it red dye? Is it PFAS? Is it all of the above? Is it all preventable? And why did we create a vaccine that does not clear the virus? That is
not only that, Patrick. Why did we create a vaccine that reproduces the most pathogenic component of the virus? Why not the nucleocapsid? Why not the whole virus? Why do we keep pushing on spike? It's insane.
Oh my God! You're singing my tune exactly. Yeah. Why did we create a vaccine that does not?
Yeah, I had other posts in there that I had saved, but it shows just again like more corruption, like more people that were like that profited off of the Ukraine war, where the money was not going to Ukraine or the people on the ground; it was going towards kickbacks and things like that. And so I guess I don't need to beat a dead horse on that. And just look at my posts all over social media at this point. I want to keep this short, like I was saying. And so like I was going to show a short video regarding Andrew Tate arriving in Florida a few days ago. And, Ron DeSantis was saying that he wasn't welcome there in his state. Allegedly, all the charges were dropped in the courts in Romania and stuff like that, and people are not going to be further investigating. But there's also people saying that victims are being interviewed, and so why would that be the case if this wasn't still possibly open? And so, in order to get these charges, right, there's a lot of compelling evidence where there was so much more than just the human trafficking piece, but with rape of minors and things like that, and these are proven, like a 15-year-old girl, for example, as well, and extortion attempts and trying to sway politicians within Romania and victims in order to recant what they were saying and stuff like that. And so, a lot of people that are right-wing influencers, and I love Candace Owens and what she shares, but again, I don't understand that relationship, and again, all I'm saying is I just don't understand why he was given a platform and so much of an audience. When if you look into what he's being accused of and actually look at the investigations, actually look at everything that's come out, that's been exposed already from the courts and stuff like that, and from the witness accounts, it paints a completely different picture, right? And so I understand that even with Dr. Jordan Peterson, I have a lot of respect for him as well, and his daughter, and I've heard from people that have worked with them, on their security details, that they're really incredible people. But I'm even going to visit Andrew Tate in Romania. I'm talking about Mikhail Peterson, and again, further supporting him and giving him a platform. And despite knowing what he's even said on social media about how exploiting women and virgins and all that stuff, and saying what we want and need and what men should aspire to be, and it's not very religious. It's not very ethical or moral. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here on some kind of a perch preaching. I'm just saying that this guy has promoted, and his brother has promoted, a lot of harmful rhetoric online, and they get platforms, right? And so I don't know. There's likely more stuff I'm missing, but I want to keep this short. So on that note, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.